Hey, Sue, now building the wall. President Trump is reportedly suggesting that Pentagon monies be used to build the border wall. And why not? Securing the border is a matter of national security. And it is the Defense Department, after all. A border wall is part of defending this nation from a foreign attack and or invasion, be it illegals or terrorists or gang members or drugs. However, there are some groups that are opposed to both illegal immigration and a border wall. Question is, how exactly does that square? Joining me now from our bureau in New York City, President of Princeton Policy Advisors, Stephen Kopits. Stephen, your organization, Princeton Policy Advisors, is suggesting controlling the border, but not by building a wall. How exactly?
Sure. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, essentially most of the illegal immigrants that come to the U.S. come here to work. And we're trying to get in between them and their employers, the government is, to try to protect U.S. workers primarily. There's another approach to this problem, which is really essentially commercial, and that's essentially to just charge them a day rate for the right to work in the United States and convert it from a major immigration problem really into just a commercial proposition.
So then what would we do then? How do we decipher, as you say, a majority? Let's stipulate you're correct. I don't know that you are. But let's stipulate that you are, that a majority of these people are coming here to, quote, work. They're violating our sovereignty, violating the law by, quote, coming here to work. How do we sort out the ones who are here to commit crimes and to move drugs through the border and sell drugs in this country and open up another chapter of MS-13 and maybe terrorists? How do we weed those people out of your formula?
Right. So right now these people are commingled, right? So we have about 2,900 illegal immigrants that try to get into the U.S. every day. About half of those get in is what we believe. So right now we have drug dealers and berry pickers that are coming in together, and this is mixing up the mission both of the border control and of cities like, say, Oakland, where you have sanctuary rules that are protecting both criminals and people who are just here working illegally, okay? In a commercial system, what you have to do is you have to get background checked, just like we have it now, and if you fail, you won't get a visa. But if you pass that, you can buy a visa, and provided that you follow the law, you can work here relatively unmolested. You can do it just as you normally would in everyday life.
So for this to work, you would have to have the terrorist or the drug dealer or the MS-13 gang member walk up to the United States government and say, hey, give me a background check, and then they'll be rejected. That's kind of a Pollyanna view to immigration, isn't it?
Well, I don't think they're going to get background checked. That's the whole point. So what you want to do is you want to separate out those people who can pass background checks and put them into a different channel.
Right.
So you want to take everybody who is not a criminal and put them into ordinary crossing points where you're saying, hey, you want to work in the U.S.? Okay, it's going to cost you $20 a day to do that. Let's pick a number.
So, but how does that stop illegal immigration? How does this stop the terrorists from violating our southern border?
Well, because right now you have 2,900 people coming across, okay, of that, let's say 3% are really bad guys, about 100. Okay, but you have 2,800 people who are berry pickers and hotel maids. And you're now mixing those up, and we can't stop, 1,500 of those coming through. If we do this, essentially you take the berry pickers and the hotel maids, you run them through a commercial system, and you're going to be left with 100 guys every day who are trying to make it across the border, and those are bad guys, right? Okay. And those guys you want Border Patrol to come after aggressively. So you don't want Border Patrol to be Doctors Without Frontiers plus some enforcement capacity. You want Border Patrol to patrol and protect the border, and they need to act with discrimination and prejudice, I think is the phrase, against people who are presumed to be harmful to the U.S. When we separate out the bad guys from the ordinary guys who want to work, we can focus our effort on the bad guys. Okay. You don't have to close the wall with close the border with a wall there. You close it with drones and with helicopters. So you're going after these guys fast, and you're going after them hard. But to enable Border Patrol to do that, you have to give Border Patrol a single mission, not a humanitarian mission plus some enforcement. Get rid of that mission. Just reduce it down to border protection in a really pretty aggressive way.
But for your plan to work, I mean, obviously, I think you would agree with this, everybody has to follow the rules. And we know from history that people are not following the rules. And your organization says that a border wall will not work. But we have tangible evidence that border walls do work. They work in Israel, but they work at our southern border. And all you have to do is go to San Diego and see Operation Gatekeeper at work, which was something that was built 25 years ago in the Clinton administration. It brought illegal immigration to a virtual standstill in that sector. That's basically the Pacific Ocean. You go out east about 15 miles. They built a double-layer fence. It was around a 250,000 apprehensions every year in that sector. Now it's a few thousand. The border wall works. So why not do your system along with a border wall?
It doesn't work. You're making exactly the case against the wall. Because what happened to those people? Those people just went to another sector and crossed there.
Right, so we need a border wall all the way across the border, right? We need it all the way across the border.
Right, and correct, and then you can do visa overstays. We give 19 million tourist visas to Mexicans every year on 6 million population.
Right.
So you could theoretically, even if you deported every Mexican, you could rebuild that population from visa overstays in 4 months.
Right, yeah, and we need to fix the visa overstay problem.
But it's hard to do.
Absolutely. 40% of illegal immigration is visa overstays, and that needs to stop. And there are tangible ways we can fix that too. So why not have a hybrid system here where we secure our border and we go to a system like you're talking about where we have checks and balances and we clear people through a process when allowing them into a country?
Well, I'm certainly not opposed to clearing them through a process, and I'm not opposed to closing the border. Just the opposite. I'm very much for that. But the way you close the border is taking away the black market aspect, those people who just want to work, right? And they're willing to pay to work in the U.S. and you segregate out those people and you focus your border control on those people who are genuinely harmful.
You're talking about...
And the problem is if you're trying to control...
You're talking about, when you say black market, you're talking about people shouldn't be hiring. It's against the law to hire an illegal immigrant, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But they don't have enough labor, so they're going to hire out of the black market.
Right. I understand.
And then we're now bringing over criminals and berry pickers, and we're mixing them up. Right. And then it becomes very hard to control things.
Well, I got a solution.
Let's segregate them. The commercial guys, let them pay a day rate.
I got a solution for that too, Stephen. It's called E-Verify. There are tangible solutions to this problem. There really are, and they exist right now. The problem is we have a government that doesn't have the guts to implement them.
Right, and they won't in the future either. That's really important to understand, right? They won't have it in the future.
You got me on that one.
Because there are real economic interests here. Yeah. So instead of saying, hey, you can't do it, and it's for E-Verify, keep in mind, if you need that labor, right? And I heard a number here that 75% of the agricultural labor in California is illegal, right? If you depend upon those as a farmer intrinsically, E-Verify, nothing, you pay them in cash. No one's going to get verified, they're never on your books. On the other hand, if you're that farmer and you can bring in those people at a known price to have them there to work for you, right, a market rate, then you can say, okay, why would I hire an illegal guy if I can hire a legal guy? Well, right? If I can hire a person who's, okay, I know who they are.
I have a solution to all of this. We enforce existing law, we deport, which is what they did in 1954 under Operation Wetback, and it worked. We seal the border, we implement E-Verify, we enforce existing law, and guess what? It's going to happen. Illegal immigration is essentially going to dry up in this country. Stephen, out of time. Thank you.